In that small village, there are their group of 4 gamblers, you see. And they used to gamble every day in the evening. And they had a fantastic set. And they were very happy gambling. One day, one of the 4 gamblers came a little late, you see. They asked him, "Arey, what is this? Why have you come late for gambling? How dare you come late? Don't you have some ethics? Why you are coming late for gambling?" And the 4th fellow said, "I'm sorry. I was passing by a house. Generally, I pass by that house. That day, I just allowed myself to stay for a few seconds. There was this great saint called Eknathji, and he was giving nectarine discourse about values, etc. I forgot myself, and for 10 minutes I could not move from the place I stood, and that's why I'm late." And he says, "What is great about that fellow?" He says, "Don't call him fellow, he's a saint." Why is he a saint? He never gets angry. He is the very epitome of forbearance. He says, how can a human not get angry? That's what I'm saying, na? He is no normal human. He is divine himself. They are gamblers, right? What do? Cholo, let's bet on it. You see. Now I'm going to bet on it. If he is really going to be completely devoid of anger, okay, all the 4 of us, let us completely dissolve this wonderful association. And I will also come with you. But if he gets angry, you have to dissolve that association there. Satsanga. Says, yes, I'm confident. I know a person when I see him. You see, gamblers can read faces. So he said, next day I'm going to do that. And then he was carefully watching Eknathji, you see. Early in the morning, at 4 o'clock or so, in the early morning, he used to wake up and then go in this little path towards the river, Godavari, chanting the names of Hari and constantly remembering with gratitude the grace of Bhagavan. And he used to take bath, wear spotlessly clean white dhoti, and he used to come back reciting the various mantras which has been taught by our masters. And one of the gamblers who waged a bet, he saw that schedule, that routine. Then he thought, this is the right time. How do I make him upset? Easiest way to make somebody upset is when they wake up and we dirty them, we put some dirt on them, they will say, anyway, I'm going to take bath. But the moment they come out of bath and then you sort of dirty them, they would be very upset. I just took bath and what did you do right now? They get upset even with their own loved ones at home when they do that. And while Eknathji was going that way, he was watching from one of his roofs of his house, which happened to be in the path of the river. And early in the morning, he took the betel leaf and started chewing it. And then he was ready. And when our Eknathji went there, he took a bath. And when he was coming back at around, say, 4:30 a.m. in the morning, it was like a second sun was rising from Godavari. Bright with his spiritual splendor. A lovely gopi chandan in his forehead, a lovely tulsi mala in his neck, both the hands clapping to the tune of his divine kirtan, and walking with a spotless white dhoti, eyes shedding tears of joy, remembering the glories and grace of Bhagavan. And he was walking down, and this fellow was taunting from his roof, saying, "Hey, Aire, where are you going?" You see. He did not even hear that. He just kept on walking. And he started taunting him with words. Didn't work. So finally he decided to take the last retort. He actually spat on Eknatha Swami on his head from the roof. Now he was sure he's going to glare at me, he's going to look at me, or either he would be afraid and he would try to shrink and go back. Eknathji did nothing. There was this fellow who spat at him, and he didn't even look up. Quietly, without even breaking his lovely song, went back, took a bath again in Godavari, came back. At least now he could have had a change of heart. He thought, let me try this, let me stretch the limit. He spat again. He went back, came back, spat again, spat again. And the records say that it happened for 18 times. By the time the whole village was upset with this fellow, but he was a very, a rowdy fellow. So people could not do anything, but they were cursing him. But Eknathji, without that smile ever being broken, went back, came back, went back, came back. Finally, the 18th time, he himself, maybe had a dry mouth or whatever, but had a wet heart. He came running, fell at the feet and said, I am now convinced that I made a very grave mistake by spitting on you. You need to forgive me. And our Ekanath Swami looked at him and said, who are you? You see, I am the one who spat at you 17 times, when you made you take bath 18 times. Oh, is that so? There is nobody or nothing to forgive you at all. And then he stood up with greater, surprise and said, what are you talking about? Our Ekanath Swami said, look here, I need to forgive you only when I am angry with you. Na? But do you know why I take bath in the morning? Because my Guru gave me a small worship. And the worship has to be done in a pure manner. And so I take bath in the morning so that my body is pure to do that worship. But more than the bodily purity is my mental purity. The moment I become angry, my mind becomes impure and no river can wash that off, isn't it? So, you are very clear about your value that you want to test me. If you are very adamant about doing the wrong thing, will I not be adamant about doing the right thing? And the person fell at his feet, became a disciple. That's the history of Ekanath Swami 500 years back. And he is the very epitome of Kshama, which is forbearance, not forgiveness. He did not condemn him in the first place. He didn't even think about it. And this is the height of Nivritti. This is the height of inward path of spirituality. Now, this is not the standard imposed on you and me. You understand what I'm saying? That's the beauty of our dharma, that if you are a sannyasi and a sadhu, this is how you need to live. But if you are a householder with a family to protect, this is not imposed on us at all. There are two wonderful ways of approaching something. One is called the way of the sadhu, other one is called the way of the world. And when we are in the world, we actually look at the way in which we need to protect ourselves in the world without losing Kshama, you see. And the beauty of that is very simple. Here, Kshama is forbearance, where I don't even look at a need of mine, which is I want people to respect me and not insult me or defile me, for example. That's the way of the highest sadhu. This is the standard which we need to measure against, and it's not imposed on us. So for us to develop a little more forbearance, we need an inspiration. And it's called, we need an ideal, isn't it? We need somebody to look up to. And that is this wonderful hagiography or the wonderful life stories we have in form of Vaishnava Samhita, you see, where these are the standards we look up to. They are not made up, they are not imaginary, these are real life incidents collected like a bouquet of flowers for us to make sure that we get inspired by their real world actions to look at. That's the standard for me. Now for me, what is the practical nivritti is what I showed you, which is the inward path of spirituality alone. I care less about my body, I care less about the world, then that's the standard for me. But when I'm not there, I need to be practical to understand how do I use Kshama, isn't it? And the beauty is this, and this is my favorite topic. So, and the beauty is the difference between how do I accept things as they are and not necessarily agree with it. You see, agreement would mean my needs are met, and agreement and acceptance would mean that needs are perfectly met. And agreement when people are doing something nasty to me would mean I am the sannyasi of the highest order, where the body means nothing to me. We can only fold our hands and prostrate to them. We cannot follow their example, you see. Or we can use it as an inspiration to make myself a little better. But I can't imitate them. Any imitation is poison. Even if it is the highest imitation, imitation is poison, isn't it? So here, the beauty is understanding the slight difference between how do I accept things without necessarily agreeing to it, which means I can be in the state of Kshama without trying to deny myself a genuine need. Are you with me? For example, the example I would give is when my needs are not met, for example, you see, at that point of time, I recognize that my needs are not met. But I don't fight with it by trying to say, this shouldn't be happening, this could have happened better, this should have happened better, and why is this happening to me? All these are not Kshama. These are all fighting the current reality, which is resisting what is. And when I resist what is, I am moving away from my practical Kshama. And kshama would mean for me very practically, now that I have a challenge, now that I realize this is my need, what do I do now? Or what can I do now? Simple. Then I am in the state of kshama and I am getting on with my life without tainting my inner soul and not compromising on my need. The more I resist reality now, greater I am in the state of akshama. You see? And kshama also means being a little patient to get our needs met, because it's not met right now. But I know how to get it met because I know what to do. Maybe I don't know it fully, but I know generally what to do to maybe get it met, to make it more, down to earth. Then kshama means let me be patient and persevere till I get the need met, rather than fighting with it and questioning it when it is reality staring at me right at my face. You get what I'm saying? Let me give you an example. Suppose somebody serves me something which I really don't like. I don't want to use the same example. Let me call it snake god curry, okay? And it's a vegetable which maybe I don't prefer, okay? And somebody serves it in my plate. Now kshama and the highest nivritti kshama is, I don't care whether I like it or not, I shall eat it. Sannyasi. But I am not a sannyasi. And I have my needs. And I need to hold on to the value of kshama and also, give due regards to my needs, because I can't fool myself to think I am a sage. So what do? The current present reality is there is something in my plate which I don't prefer. And trying akshama, which is non-forbearance, would be questioning it. Hey, come here. Why did you put it in my plate? Did I ask for it? Why did you make this? You should have at least asked me before putting it. You could have asked me. You see all these words? These are all resisting what is. Nothing is going to change in my plate by me fighting with a current reality. I am in the state of akshama, creating trouble for me, creating taint for me, creating unnecessary, ripples in my heart, and also spreading it outside. Now, kshama would mean, yes, somebody has put something which I don't prefer. What do I do now? You see? And if my value is to not waste food, I would tell them, can you please take it off? Any other alternative is fine. If it's not there, no problem. I'll just take the bread. No problem. That is kshama, without compromising my need. If I am a sannyasi, I am not even supposed to ask. What is put in the bowl, I eat. Finish. Whatever it is. You see? And that is the highest shama. You see? But for me to practice sama so that one day maybe I can also become that spiritual. But for that, practically, how do I practice shama is not to question, not to resist that which is right now available by dragging the past, which is done. I can't do anything about the past. I don't have a time machine. So what happened, happened. There is no point raking it up emotionally. So what I can do is, what I mean when you could have asked me before putting this, curry in my plate, what I am actually meaning is, please ask me in future. And I don't come to that until I am in the state of kshama, where I look at it and say, yes. So I can tell them, from tomorrow, can you please tell me what you're going to cook for me so that I can make adjustments if required. Kshama, need being met. Sannyasi, chup chop, eat whatever is put on the plate, because a sannyasi is never supposed to entertain the body or nourish the body. That's the highest standard. So kshama for me is acceptance, and acceptance would actually mean that I respect my need, but I shall not try to fulfill my need by trying to pull or rake the past and use all resistance there and trying to fight with reality. I forbear it. Until my needs are met, I shall persevere, and I am patient for it with respect to my needs, and that's intelligence also. It is not just a sterling spiritual value alone. That is how intelligent people live, you see. And so kshama for me, very simply, acceptance and working towards meeting my need in some way, some plan, some strategy, some technique or tactic or whatever, by sharing. And I am more future oriented about how do I get my need met, and till the time I get my need met, while in the path of getting my need met, I persevere, I am patient. That becomes the practical kshama for me. you see. And that's why it is said that Kshama is an ornament for those lovely people who are truly humane, you see. Kshamaiva bhushanam nunam kshamaya labhyate sukham. That we can truly be happy when we embrace this wonderful concept of Kshama, which is self-endurance, which is forbearance, which is patience a bit, which is perseverance a bit, without giving up our need and waiting for the need to be fulfilled. And here very beautifully the Sadgurunath says that Shamayaiva Bhushanam Nunam, this is the greatest adornment, this is the greatest embellishment and ornament for me if I want to lead a path of intelligent and beautiful human life. And Kshamaya Labhyate Sukham. Sukha means joy. And Kshama is the contributor of joy in my life. And that is, once you understand the greatness of Kshama, rest of the values would be actually nourished by this sterling starting value called Kshama. So generally they say in our culture, whenever you feel a little impatient, whenever you feel a little resentment, you see, remember Ekanath. When you look at something which is the standard out there, immediately you can find repose there. Just like how we say when you see thunder, Arjuna, Arjuna, they actually shout Arjuna, Arjuna when they see thunder. That's another story from Mahabharata. Likewise, they say whenever anger tries to attack us, remember Ekanatha. Whenever we are in the state where we may lose our forbearance, remember Ekanatha. It will give us tremendous strength.
Hare Rama.